It's time now, Coach, to delve into another area of bowling, and one that's very important in order to develop consistency and accuracy, and that's, of course, a good, solid arm swing.
Benny, I think it's probably the #1 key that the professional players on tour work on all the time is developing a groove swing. If they're throwing the ball a little right, little left, little right, little left, that's because their arm swing's wandering around a little bit, so they really break the swing down and work on grooving that swing out so that they hit their target. And therefore, they throw very few opens. That's the #1 reason the professionals throw very few opens. They have a groove swing.
You like to talk about the on-line swing that the pros have.
And it starts right from the start when we start out, and we have the ball in our stance, and we push out again, getting back to pushing that ball out on line. We push it to the right, it's going to swing in behind us, arm in, ball out. If we push it to the left, the swing's going to bounce out away from us. We're going to throw shots to the left. We have to start it off out on line to get it in this 4-inch pro groove, back and through. We're going to allow 4 inches back and through, room for variance. The reason for that is we have 4 inches to hit the pocket. If we're on this side of the 4-inch groove, it's going to be heavy in the pocket. On this side of the 4-inch, it's going to be light in the pocket. Right in between is a perfect pocket shot. So we push it out on line, and we keep it in this 4-inch line, back and through. If it wraps in behind, we're going to miss the head pin right. If it bounces out away, we're going to miss the head pin left.
Coach, how tough is it to at the top of your swing and your backswing, get it to the same point every time? And you have to do that if you're going to be consistent, right?
Yes, Benny, because if you shorten the swing up, you're going to have early timing, you're going to drop the ball, you're going to have closed shoulders, you're going to throw it to the left. If you have a real high swing and you sort of hang it there or stretch it out, you're going to have an open body position, you're going to throw the ball to the right. Okay. What's really important is that your coach is watching that for you. You know, your coach is a trained specialist, so your coach is watching you, and you need to work and try to picture. If you're going to take the swing to shoulder height, take it to shoulder height every time. If you're going to take it above the head or a little higher swing, that's fine. Just do it the same every time. Or if you have a little shorter swing, the barrel-chested, real tight, stronger person, a little shorter swing, that's fine, as long as you choose one and do it the same every time, the same position where it isn't varying all the time, because that's what changes your thumb coming out of the foul line different. At the foul line, the thumb will come out different if you vary the backswing height, obviously.
I know you and I are discussing the arm swing right now, but we're going to focus particularly on the forearm, and you believe it has to be square in order to be a good player.
Yes, right here in the stance, we start out and we have the forearm, and what we like to have you picture is an 18-inch arrow pointing right out of your forearm. You just start out, and actually I don't want the arrow to point over there or to point over there. I want the forearm to point straight toward the target as I start my groove, my roll, and the shape of my push away, and my start here, and I've got that arrow lined up. Now I come back and through, and I keep that arrow lined up with my target. If I'm shooting a 7-pin, naturally it's pointed a little to the left. If I'm shooting a 10-pin, it's pointed to the right. If I'm throwing it straight up the lane, I keep that 18-inch arrow coming out of that forearm back and through. As I come through the release, make sure that forearm stays square. What we see people do all the time is they think they're turning their hand, when in fact what they're doing is they're rolling their arm. They're rolling their arm or flipping that forearm, trying to flip or put something on the ball, and they're using their arm to do it. Instead of keep that forearm nice and square, back and through, we refer to it or have nicknamed it the square forearm. The fingers can turn, the wrist can work. Just don't let the arm flip over. Keep that 18-inch arrow lined up straight through to your target, and boy, will that improve the accuracy.
I don't think there was a better player in the history of the game of bowling that had a looser swing than Don Johnson.
Benny, I don't know who coined the phrase loose, L-O-O-S-E, but if you take one O out, you squeeze one O out, what does it spell?
Lose.
L-O-S-E. So prime requisite of being loose. Loose creates ball velocity, creates power. You take that 16-pound object, get real loose from the shoulder socket we're talking. Feel like you're the little tin man and someone is taking the oil can and really oiling that shoulder socket to where your swing is real loose back and through. It creates accuracy and power by having a real loose, free swing. And you can do it all day long. You never get tired when you have that nice, free, loose swing. It's when you start tightening up and controlling, and then you start snapping and pulling and flipping the ball all over the lane instead of having that real loose swing from the shoulder socket toward your target with a square forearm.
While we're on the subject of fine-tuning and the fine points of the arm swing, let's now discuss that side radius view that you like to talk about.
Then, as a matter of fact, right now at this time frame in the lesson plan, it's time for each one of our students to start to choose their style. And there are three basic different styles, which we talk about: the cranker, the stroker, and the roller type player. And it's tied into the side radius view. I always like to liken the side radius view to an airplane coming in to make a landing. It was coming in very shallow, like a saucer, the shape of a saucer, going to make the landing and then very gently take off again. That would be a roller, a person with a low-profile swing, stays down and just rolls the ball. Or let's take an airplane that was coming with more of a nose-down altitude and make the landing and then take off with the nose up. Or more of what they would refer to as the pendulum motion. Or that's more of the stroker motion of the swing. And then we have the third type player, the cranker. The cranker is the one where the nose is coming straight down toward the ground and then stand it on its tail and take off again, up toward the sky. And what we do there is we down and then we hit up on the ball. And what happens is why that person cranks the ball is when you hit up on the ball quicker, the thumb comes out of the ball quicker, and the weight goes onto the fingers and creates the revolutions. Obviously, that's not good for everybody. That wouldn't be good probably for a little lady with a small wrist and a small hand, say that weighs 120 pounds. I think a little more of a longer, smoother swing, more of an accuracy game than a cranker's game.
I know that while we're on the subject of fine-tuning now, I'm starting to get a picture for all this, getting a feel for how you want to set up, what the ball position is, what the arm swing is. But now let's take that a step further. Let's talk about the timing and the wrist position when you start to get into these different choosing of styles.
Yes, and this is a time for each person to start to choose. How do I bowl? Choose one of these styles, and it starts right here with the wrist. Let's stay with the cranker.
All right.
I'm going to put my hand in a strong position. I'm going to cup the wrist. I'm going to cock the fingers sideways. So now I've got the wrist in a cranker's position. Now I'm going to have a little bit of a later timing. I'm going to get started, and what I'm going to do is make sure that I get up in the foul line where my body is in front of the ball. Now, we don't want to overdo that. I don't mean 3 and 4 feet ahead of the ball, but an extra 18 inches to where we delay it a little bit, getting it into the swing. Now, we hit the foul line, and then we hit up on the swing, thus creating the crank. We have the wrist in a strong position. We have a little later timing, and then we hit up on the swing. That equals the cranker.
All right, what about the stroker now?
Then you have the stroker, where the stroker has a little more of a medium wrist position in the stance. Perfect timing, not early, not late. Just that timing where the right foot and the hand move out at the same time. And then when they come through the release point, it's not going to snap up, and it's not going to go down through, but it's going to be more of a pendulum, or what we call the half circle. It almost pictures as a perfect half circle.
All right, and then the third particular style would be the person that really rolls the ball down the lane.
The bowler that really is the accuracy bowler, the person that don't throw the ball all over the lanes, not looking for the big hook, looking for the nice heavy roll, looking for more of an end-for-end type roll. They put their wrist in a little weaker position. They don't put much of a squeeze on the ball. It's a real relaxed, very smooth type of game where you relax the hand. The timing gets in a little bit quicker. It's a little earlier timing. And when they hit the foul line, they just release it quickly and stay right down. And they don't hit up on it at all. They just stay down and let the ball roll. And what they're doing is trying to pick up a heavy roll with very small hook. And you can do it time after time after time. It's the accuracy game.